All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Christine Girardi, Assistant Curator for the Niagara Falls History Museum, and we are so pleased to have you here tonight for our Not at the Museum Thursday night programming. As usual, I'd like to begin our program with a land acknowledgement. So, the Niagara region of Ontario is located on the traditional shared territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Chinatan peoples. The Chinatan people have called these lands home for thousands of years, and more recently, the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee have been sharing the land as one dish, one spoon treaty territory. Tonight, the museum brings you our first digital coming out story for 2021. And this is our third year of running these coming out stories, which are evenings designed for the LGBTQ plus and straight communities alike. Each night, we welcome a different special guest to share their personal experiences, coming out to their families and communities. And I'm so thrilled that the museum has been seen as an ally and a safe space to help facilitate these much needed conversations in the Niagara region. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. This program offers an open dialogue about gender and sexuality, so please note there are references of a sexual nature during the conversation. Without further ado, I would love to introduce the person responsible for these series, whose tireless efforts have brought some of the most beautiful and thought-provoking programs into the museum. Tonight's host, Falynn Shaw.
Thank you so much, Christine. Hello, folks. As she said, my name is Falynn Shaw, and I'm your host. And we have a very special show for you tonight. Not that our other shows weren't special, but this one, we leveled up a little bit on this one as far as who we chose. I reached out to Bif Naked, our guest here today. That is who we have, Bif Naked, the Canadian activist, businesswoman, and rock goddess, here live. We were going to be able to do it live, but because of the fact that we are dealing with a pandemic, we're doing it as a recording. Hi, Bif, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I wish we were doing it in person. I would give you the biggest hug right now.
Oh, I could use a big hug right now, honestly. This whole time, it's been a long year. We're coming up on almost a year.
Yes, absolutely. It's been challenging for everybody, but I think often we miss that connection, being able to just connect in person.
It's been hard learning how to connect. It's really been hard. It's hard to find words right now because I'm actually a little nervous. You are someone that I don't know, I've looked up to you and listened to your music for as long as I can remember. Same as like most of my friends who are a little envious that this is happening. I want to thank you for saying yes.
Of course. Oh my gosh. I think that what you're doing is amazing. I think this show is amazing and it's important, and it's an honor for me to be involved and participating in the conversation.
I knew that you use your platform for a lot of good. I was speaking to someone that I had on the show previously, Alice Rose, who is a friend of yours. So let's give a quick shout out to Alice Rose, comedian out of Toronto.
Yes.
She actually said you and Bif would get along really well.
Oh, cool. Not wrong at all. Not wrong.
So I always had that in the back of my head. And I thought, why not? After I had interviewed the band Saint Stone, I just thought it would be cool to kick things off with you.
Awesome.
So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For those who don't know, we discussed you are a cis woman who is in a heterosexual marriage, but you also identify as bisexual. So I'll let you take the show there.
Well, I think that also with my generation, so I'm a Gen X person, and I think that my generation of people, girls, boys, all of us, we're inching towards being elders at this point. And it makes me laugh all the time because I still feel like I'm 24. But when I was kind of discovering, what labels I was comfortable with, which is for me how it was. It wasn't that I was discovering what my sexuality was or what my preferences were. It's something I kind of always knew, just like everyone. You kind of grow up who you are. But labels became important to me when I was in my early 20s. One of them was feminist, the other one was humanist. And at the time, really, I wanted to convey that I loved everybody, you know. So at that time in our lives, it was important for me to say, no, I definitely am a bisexual. But currently, I look back and I think that probably wasn't accurate, because it's actually, like anything, it's really a spectrum. And I think it's actually more pan. I think the truth
I was actually just thinking that when you're speaking.
Absolutely. I think that the actuality of it always was that it was not by pen, definitely.
But that wasn't around then.
No, but I always was, and I always loved everybody, no matter what was going on for that person. And I've always been that way. I think that, you know, for whatever reason, and sure, I can look back and go, well, yes, I am a cis het white lady, you know, and so I have been married 3 times because I love love, and because I'm an optimist. I'm such an optimist, and they have happened to all be dudes, and that's how it is. And
that's just how it happened.
That's just how it is. And I always tell Snake that no matter who he was, I would have found and fallen for him. And that's just kind of really what I believe. And I think that over time, certainly in the days we live in now, in this era, all I can say from my own personal experience is that, you know, it's different now. Labels are very different now. It's very different. And
it is very different.
When I was 21, it was very important to me to have a label, to kind of tell people lots of information in a small sentence or a small word. And as I got older, you know, my perspective changed a lot. But the truth is, I'm probably and have always probably been pan.
Yeah, well, I think that I know a few people that would agree with you on that until the word pansexual really came to light and people were talking about it, they always assumed they were bisexual. And then they thought, no, but really, I love love. I love everyone. It's personality and the soul.
That's right. Absolutely.
I think that's a beautiful thing, though, to be able to say that you love all. Like that's a lot of love.
I hope so. And even when I was just a young woman, and, you know, as soon as people, especially in the 90s and early 2000s, perhaps even today, you know, when they hear that you are bisexual or pansexual, they assume that you are promiscuous, or they assume that you are horny. And it's like, well, no. In fact, I know a lot of people who really don't want to be sexual at all. They want to be emotionally connected with people. And so I just think that all of those preconceived notions, because of, yes, the internet, and because of fearless conversations like the ones that you guys are facilitating, I just think that people are starting to realize that it doesn't mean that you're promiscuous. It doesn't mean, you know, but it used to have that connotation.
And no, and it still does in some ways, because I know, like in the past, when I have mentioned what I identified as, it was sexualized within a moment. And to be honest, I go by queer now, because I just find that when someone finds that out, they don't necessarily sexualize it right away.
Interesting.
So that's just something I've used. I used to say lesbian a lot, but depending on who heard, it was automatically something that was they visualized it, and it just made it not so okay for me.
Of course. Well, look at those novels from the 50s, you know, with the Elizabeth Taylor Cat on a Hot Tin Roof.
The wording, back then was so intense.
Very funny.
Yes.
Yeah, of course look how sexy it looked, you know. Exactly. Of course it was sexualized.
No, I don't like to be sexualized, and I know a lot of other people don't either. And I think I think it is easier sometimes to just say queer or I'm in the community or whatever, because then it's more left, you know, up in the air and someone isn't thinking too much about you.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does. So a couple questions I have. I follow your social media, and I have to say, it's a bright light. It's a lot of the things that you post, and even though some of them are talking about, you know, the battle that you had with cancer, and some of them are talking about really important, really heavy things, I always feel inspired when I read the things that you write. And I know that this is real because you write very real, but you always put a positive spin on whatever it is that you're writing. How do you, like, what keeps you that way? Like, what do you attribute to being able to do that?
Well, to me, I get asked that all the time. One is, I always save my rage for the stage. So, you know, people say, oh, you're just so sunny and happy. No, I'm super angry, actually. There's lots of shit
there's real
I'm angry
stuff.
about. And generally I'll put that into songs or spoken word or letter writing or petitions or something like that. But when it comes to social media particularly, I always kind of looked at it like, really, what do you want to put out there in the world? You know, I see a lot of people, and when I was in chemotherapy, particularly, I would see all these posts from other patients, and you know, they just seemed like really sad. And even though I was experiencing exactly all of the same things that these wonderful, strong, fearless women were experiencing, I just thought, it's not that I wanted to hide that, but I just thought, yeah, I know I feel like garbage. I know I feel like garbage, but I'm going to make fun of myself because that's my coping technique. That's all I know how to do. And because I joined Twitter in 2009. And
are you still rocking the Twitter?
Oh yeah, I'm on Twitter.
All right, I might have to get back on.
I'm on Twitter every day.
All right.
And you know, I think that at the time when I joined it, it was at the insistence almost of my record label, and I thought, I don't understand. I didn't even text anybody. I was like, why would I do this? But what I realized was it was a real platform for me to get positive messaging out, and it was primarily for other cancer patients at that time. And even still today, I like trying to stay positive. If I'm not positive, if I have a migraine, which is something I have a lot, if I have a migraine, or if I feel sick, or if I just don't feel well, or if I feel down, or if it's too busy and I feel overwhelmed, or shit's hitting the fan, I just won't go on social media.
Yeah, that's exactly
what I'm saying. And so, which is kind of, in a way, it's kind of dumb. A lot of people say, oh, you have to be consistent and you have to, you know, the algorithm, all this stuff. But it's like, I don't know. Oh, well, I don't follow that stuff. So I just try
and that's what makes you who you are. You don't have to follow what they tell you. You don't.
No, never have.
Don't start now.
Yeah.
Going back to when you were in your early 20s, when you realized that you were bisexual at that time, how did your family take it? Because you were already like a rock star. So did you have people that were like, they weren't really surprised, or they just thought?
No one was ever surprised. No one was ever surprised. And my father, may he rest in peace, my entire adult life accused me, but in a loving way, of not living my true life. My father said, he just kind of would shake his head and go, I don't know what you're doing, kid, but you should just let everyone know you're a lesbian. My minister is a lesbian, and I know that you're exactly like my minister. So why you're living this lie, I don't understand. But we love you, kid, and we're here to support you. And I used to sit there going, Dad, really? You know, I would tell you, like, I think I would know before you knew. But that's
the opposite of most dads or parents.
That was my dad. He was, and my sisters, if they're watching this, they will laugh their heads off, because yes, that is exactly how my dad was. But I don't really remember it even being a conversation at the dinner table or anything, because I was, I was a theater kid, and
you were accepted.
And I was, I shaved my head and quit ballet and started smoking and blowing guys all the same year. So I already, put my parents through all that stuff. Nothing surprised them. And no matter what I was doing, no matter what happened, they were always supportive, always.
It's nice that you had supportive parents, because, there's a lot of kids in that situation that would not have had that same response. So
100%.
Some of the people that I have on the show, that's not the response they got. And because of that, it caused other issues in their life. So sure. I always love to spotlight when we hear that a parent or parents were accepting.
I was very lucky. And my parents were, they were really cool. My mom is in Winnipeg. She still is the same. She's very cool, very progressive girl.
I read about you. I got this book, Bificus.
So
So I know the story. By the way, if you've never read this book, Bificus, it tells you all the things that you never knew and you want to know.
All the things that they would legally let me say.
Yeah.
That was the thing.
I bet there was more that they may have had to take out, but what you did put in there and what did get printed, it was so cool to learn about you, where you were born and just like how you ended up in Winnipeg. And there's just so many interesting things that when I first asked you, I didn't really know. Can we talk a little bit about some of those things?
Sure, that's amazing. Thank you for
Her Royal Majesty Records.
Yeah, so lucky. Well, I mean, in 1994, no record companies would work with us. We had a CD.
You had to create your own.
That's all we did. I mean, it was practical. It wasn't like we were trying to make some empire, or anything like that. It was really as a vehicle just to put my CD out. And we just licensed it in different countries.
And it's still rocking.
In the world, and it's just been a lot of fun. I like the music business. I like all the people I've ever met and worked with. I have not met.
You probably discovered people too, right? You probably hear music and think, wow, I want to make that person, get them on my record label.
I've been very lucky that I was able to sign bands. At one point, it was really fun to have a label side that we were signing bands, and that was fun. But it's disheartening too, because you want so badly for your baby band to shoot for the stars, and it's not always that simple, and it's not always that easy. And now it's harder.
Just trying and getting out there is half the battle, but trying to stay relevant, and it's not easy. Like, you've been working hard. Like, I love that you're still releasing music and you've got stuff coming out right now. I was listening to your music this morning to get pumped.
Cool.
I found out about Mona Lisa Healing, the CBD.
Oh, cool. Right on.
That's something that I'm probably going to get into using, because I suffer with fibromyalgia, so I'm chronic pain all the time. So I love the business, the CEO, like, you're a boss woman. You have things that are going on.
I mean, I'm a boss, but definitely I can say for sure that Mona Lisa Healing is something that I'm really privileged to be a part of, because they just have so much integrity. I mean, as you can imagine, there are 3,000 companies that make CBD. You can order CBD on the internet from any jack, anybody.
And you're not necessarily getting what they're saying, though. That's the problem.
It's like, I want it for myself and for my own family, like my senior citizen mother, or my little pet, or my sister.
You do the dog stuff for pets.
You want it to be a pure product. You want it to be just coconut oil, cruelty free, vegan. You don't want any bullshit.
Price wise, affordable.
Yes.
If anything, it's better than some of the prices that are out there.
That's great.
So I really think it's awesome that you use your platform to not only all of the things that we just talked about, but helping animals, which is obviously something I'm really really big on. I mean, animals, to me, I view animals as equals. And so I think it's beautiful, like that you also follow Grey Haven Sanctuary. That's here.
Yeah.
We're friends with them. I just, is being able to use your voice something that's been special to you? Has that been something that's really been important?
Oh, 100%. It is every day. And again, I think that any of us, whether you're a singer or a dishwasher, or you drive a Zamboni, or you're a taxi driver, whatever you do, and you're on social media, you can literally share the stuff you like. And it's just really that simple. And like yourself, I'm really, I'm interested in animals. I'm interested in what people who work with animals and work to ensure the wellness of animals are doing. I want to amplify that. Somehow there's a lot of guilt, for people who work in animal rights and animal wellness, that we can't physically be there with our bodies. And I have that every day, that I can't physically be somewhere put my body there. So the least I can do, the very least I can do, is try and share.
I understand you on that too. I get those feelings where it's like, I wish I could do so much more, because there is so many problems. Yes. But just remind ourselves that even just speaking out for them is something more than most.
Absolutely.
It's been so awesome talking to you, but now we have come to some questions. My partner put out a question form to see if anybody had any questions for you, and there's actually some pretty interesting ones. Here we go. Hello, my name is Alex. I'm a singer and guitar player. I identify as genderqueer. I want to get into the music industry. What advice could you give me?
Hey, you're in it. You're
in it.
Yeah, if you are making and creating music and content, it is easier than it has ever been to just literally put it out there in the world. So you've got Bandcamp, you've got Instagram, you've got Facebook, you have TikTok, you have anything you want to do. SoundCloud, iTunes, there's companies that will help you put it out everywhere at the same time. I mean,
there really is so many different options up there.
When people say, what do I do to break into it? You're in it. You are in it. As soon as you strike a note on your guitar and you share it, you're in it.
That's awesome.
Now more than ever before, on one hand, it's easier than ever to share your music and put it out there for the whole world to enjoy. But it is also harder in a way because the waters are muddied, with the 500 billion other projects. But the truth is, there's room for everybody. And I've always believed that. There's always going to be people who are, I don't know, not very supportive, or there's always going to be people who are very, very supportive. You're gonna find your way, and just always remember, there's room for everybody. So just do your thing.
Music is something that I've always been into as well, but I've always been someone that liked a little bit of everything as far as being an artist. And I've used SoundCloud, and there are other options. Like if you really want get an album going, you can do crowdfunding, different things like that. But like you said, there's a lot of people that are doing this, and a lot of people that are learning these programs really fast. So there's great apps out there though that can teach you.
And there's so many success stories with apps and platforms and self-production. I mean, you can look at Grimes. I always use it as an example.
Oh, Grimes.
Right? Because it's like what Claire did was amazing from the beginning. It's always been organic and very authentically her. And
very indie, but it's like everybody loves it.
Great example, Exactly. Just start creating.
Do you think if you were doing, like, if your band came out now, say this, fast forward and you're coming out now, do you think you would have had to start you wouldn't have had to start a label probably? Because
probably not. Like, it's hard to say. And I just think,
it is.
because I am the generation that I am, I feel very nostalgic and very attached to my history.
Yeah.
I feel very, I guess, I don't know what the word is. I'm just so attached to the roots of touring in a van and recording all four of us in a church basement when I was in Gorilla and making a cassette tape and trying to sell that cassette to kids that came to the show.
There was a bit of a hustle back then. Like the
Yeah,
hustle was different.
Amazing. It was really amazing. And I just think that often that may be missing or lost for young bands today. And I value and treasure all of those memories and all of the lessons that I learned. Everything's a stepping stone. They say, you know, it's okay to build castles in the sky. You just have to build the steps underneath to get up.
Yeah, that foundation's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. Because stuff is easier sometimes, you don't have to pay your dues. It's a little different. You don't get to learn all of the things that you would have learned. Those are hard lessons.
Yes, but everyone's dues are different too.
Exactly, so, that's very true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy with my history.
Yeah,
and I feel like you know, I hope anyway.
It's pretty epic.
It means something.
Yeah, no, it does. I've learned a lot just reading your book. I learned a lot of different things, you know, that I didn't even realize.
Awesome.
We have another question. Hello, Biff. My name is Sarah from Niagara. If you didn't make it in punk rock as a punk rock artist, what genre could you have seen yourself trying instead?
Genre of music? Wow.
Yes.
I don't know. You know, I never really thought of myself as a punk artist ever. I think that, you know, in the beginning of being in bands, the first band I was in was considered kind of like a punk funk band. Chrome Dog, the second band I was in, was like almost like a thrash band or an alternative band. Of course, it was the Pacific Northwest in the early 90s. So I don't know. I think that I've got a pretty, you know, regular alto voice. So probably I could have gone, I don't know, into country music or something like that. I think in the 90s, probably that would have been something that I would have loved to have done. Not because
country was big in the 90s.
Well, and also it's very fun to sing. It's a very easy style for my alto voice. I love harmonizing and you know, now as I'm getting older, I always joke around with one of my friends who's also a singer, and I say, I don't know why we didn't sing in church choirs, man, because that way you're getting, you know, twice a week, you're still singing with people.
Yeah.
You know, you're practicing on Thursday nights and then you're singing Sunday morning. Like that would be kind of awesome for anybody to do.
Well, that's good advice then. If anyone's looking, get onto a choir. So there are city choirs too. If people aren't into the church thing, like there are actual choirs. So I used to be in a choir and
cool.
It was good. It was good. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about what my voice could do. So that's good advice for anybody that's getting into music.
Yeah.
I think voice lessons are important too. I think people that really want to sing, because sometimes you're singing wrong, you could hurt your voice. It's good to learn how to sing.
That's right.
I got another question for you. Have you suffered any backlash for being an advocate for so many?
Oh yes, every day.
Every day.
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, you know, and the thing that really bothers me to share with you is that the most negative feedback I ever received and the most hateful and hurtful comments and when I was doing some work with Raise the Rates in British Columbia, and I was doing the Welfare Food Challenge. So it seems like you think that people, I mean, really? I mean, I talk about, you know, trying to be, trying to eat vegan. I talk about being more of an ally for LGBTQ communities. I talk about being an anti-racist activist. However, when you fight for the poor, that's when you get to hate. And let me tell you, Welfare Food Challenge, I went from, you know, I might get a couple comments on a post. That's just not, I just don't operate that way on Facebook and platforms. I don't get a lot of comments. I did a post for a welfare food challenge, and I wrote an op-ed about why I think it's important that everybody understands that the rates are not enough, that social assistance is not enough for people.
No, it's not.
And the hate that I got death threats, I got the racist, derogatory comments, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind. It was hundreds, nearly 1,000 comments on just like,
because you were standing. I actually have been asked if I would want to start standing up for like people that are on disability and welfare.
Yes.
And someone told me that they think that would be bad for me, because if I want to be an activist, you have to pick stuff to be an activist that isn't going to ruin you. And that was one of the things that people said, like, because I want to go stand on Capitol Hill and I want to say, what's going on?
I don't think you have to pick. I mean, you know, my dad used to accuse me of cherry picking when it came to spirituality and religion. He said, you're not allowed to take this little thing from Buddhism and take this little thing from your little Hare Krishna friends and take this little thing from your Hindu sensibility and take that. And I was like, why not? Why not? All paths, really? Don't you think all paths lead to God? You know, a lot of people do. So it's like, well, why wouldn't you like everything then? Same goes for your activism and your allyship. Why wouldn't you advocate for everybody? Like, I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, there's always someone who needs to be uplifted. There's always going to be someone who needs a hand. You know, why wouldn't,
I'm someone who is on disability. I am partly on disability, and I'll be honest, like it's really hard.
Not enough. It's not
It's
enough.
really hard.
It is not
and
enough.
I know some other people who don't have the support in their life like I do, like friends and family.
Yeah.
So it is something that I'm looking to like stand up for, because there's not enough people doing it.
No, there isn't. And it is
visibly.
Absolutely. And that's a perfect example. And that's a perfect example of Twitter. For example, ODSP, there's a hashtag that is ODS poverty. And there are a lot of voices on there. And it's important. In these communities, really, it's really important, and we can't stop, and you can't let, and I couldn't let, you know, thousands and thousands of comments stop me. You know, people don't really understand. You gotta fight poverty, not the poor. Like,
yeah, you know, that's the problem.
Yeah, and I think that yeah, there's lots of different communities that they don't want shelters there, or they don't, you know, it's just, I could go on, we could talk about it for
this could be a whole series that we could do. One thing that has been hard for me is that when I work with a lot of people who aren't on disability and don't need ODSP, and they will talk bad about those people, and
no.
And it is hard, but like you said, it's something that we could talk about. But I think this pandemic brought to light that Ontario believes that everyone needs $2,000 to live. So I think that they have set the standard.
It is unbelievable.
I know.
And that 2,000 is more than people on disability receive.
Exactly, I know.
But that's in a lot of different provinces too. Every province has a similar issue. And yeah, I don't know what the solutions are. There are a lot of great people who've gone into politics and who have gone into lawmaking. It's a matter of them having their voice heard by the people in power above them. And that's always probably, you know, historically always been the way it was. Maybe we're going to be the next generation of door knockers, and you know, that's all we can hope for, is that our voices together are louder than they are when we're not unified.
I believe that there's a lot of conversations like the one we're having today. I know we've covered a few different things, but both of us are activists, so that was just bound to happen. But but being able to talk about the fact that, you know, you can identify as one thing and you can also be married, I think that that's important, because not everybody understands that. And I think you sharing a little bit about your story, it's a good way to start conversations that people are different, and you don't have to accept people, but just why not?
Yeah, like, exactly.
It's a lot easier to just accept.
Yeah, more fun having lots of different people in your lives.
Yeah, that's what makes life special to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've had a great show with you. We're gonna have Christine come back. She should be coming back in a second. I just want to say thank you. Like I said, I really respect you and I look up to you. And I also hope that with this oncoming year, you've got a lot on your plate. Like you have, just from what I've seen, you've got shows coming up. You're still doing stuff with your book. So I believe that I just send you with good vibes. And I really hope that you can say that.
Thank you. And I have a lot of respect and admiration for you. I really appreciate you having talk with me on this and giving me your time.
Yes. Maybe we can talk again one day. We can talk. I'm looking to have my own podcast one day.
Oh, and cool.
I'll be reaching out to you again.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight and joining us for our very first coming out stories for 2021, which is bound to be an amazing year. And I want to always thank Falynn for her hard work and dedication to this series. We could not do it without you. You are absolutely fabulous. And to Bif, thank you so much for coming out. Every special guest we have for coming out stories is so fantastic, and their stories touch me in so many different ways, and we're so thankful to every one of them. And just like adding a Canadian icon to that list is very cool. Awesome. So thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule and volunteering your time with us and joining us for our coming out stories. It's been really great.
Thank you.
For everybody else, we have another coming out stories happening in just 2 weeks. On March 18th, we're welcoming Lorenzo Cromwell, who is an Anglican deacon in the Niagara region, and he went through 15 years of reparative therapy and came out very late in life. So a different story for you to join us and listen to. We've got an amazing setup for the rest of the series, so you can check out the Niagara Falls Museum's website for more details, and we hope you'll join us again soon. Have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.